Hello, how's everybody doing today? We're back with another quick chess tips video, and keeping up with the current theme that we've been doing, which is endgames. We're going to continue with that, and today I'm going to focus on the distant opposition. And as you guys recall from the last couple of videos, we did the opposition, and it was just the close opposition, and we also did the H-pawns, the rook pawns. So for this video, I'm going to show you the concept of distant opposition. Okay, we have this position here, and it might seem complicated because typically we think of opposition as like this, one square apart. So whoever has to move here does not have the opposition. But keep in mind here, think about how many squares are in between these two kings, right? And there's only one square. So there's an odd number of squares in between the kings. So this concept also works when you stretch it out. If you have an odd number of squares in between the kings, whoever has to move loses the opposition. So if we go back to D1 here, count the squares here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So we take that and flip it around also. If it's an even number of squares in between the kings, whoever is to move has the opposition. So we'll just play it out here. We'll have white move, and we'll just go directly forward and show you how this works. King D2, King D7, King D3, King D6, King D4. And now white has the opposition. So that was simple enough, right? This concept also works as well for the diagonal opposition, because that also exists, diagonal opposition. So we'll show you an example like this. Here, kings are diagonal from each other. But what we must keep in mind here again, there's one square in between both kings. And we know that this means that whoever is to move loses the opposition, because it's an odd number of squares. So if we take that concept and stretch it out once again, like this, count how many are in between. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's an odd number in between. So whoever is to move loses the opposition, right? And again, we can just show that whoever is to move loses it. Let's say it's black to move. King here, king here, king here, oops, and king there. And again, white keeps that opposition there. Okay, now we'll do something a little bit more complicated, but it's not very complicated. It's when the kings aren't connected at all. They're not on the same file. So, what do we do here? How do we figure this out? Well, it's not that difficult at all. If it's white to move, he plays King A2. And why is that? Well, it has to do with connecting points. If you look, A2, A8, E8, and E2, these are all connecting points. Okay? And if you can move on to connecting points, such as this, you will maintain the opposition, right? And I'll just show you another example of how this is actually going to work in practice. So from here, we've already stated white has the opposition because of these connecting points, A2, A8, E8, and E2. So if black moves over, King F8, where would white go here? I'll give you a couple seconds just to think about it. Okay, King B2. And now if you check again, now our new connecting points are B2, B8, F8, and F2. And we maintain the opposition still. So now he'll probably play either, King G8 or King E8. But if he plays King E8, again we play King C2. And now our connection points are C2, C8, E8, and E2. Okay, and we're slowly getting closer and closer to the king. We're boxing him into the corner. So he'll play King F8. And again, we keep our connection points, King D2. And now we have these connection points, right? Now let's say he moves over. We move over once again. Keep up with the idea of connecting points. and then one more over, king f2, and we've got him boxed in this corner now, as you can see. Right? And now it becomes much more simpler. He'll play king h7 probably, and now we connect the points again. King f3, and we have connection points. So the key to maintaining the opposition if your opponent is not even on the same file as you is you have to step onto these connection points. If you can move on to the connection points, as we've just demonstrated, you'll have the opposition. And now we'll show you just how we can kind of finish this off here. He'll play king h8, and then we play king f4. Again, more connection points here. This time f4, f8, h8, and h4. And now if he plays king h7 here, we play king f5 and get the diagonal opposition, right? And if he plays, obviously if he plays king g7, we just play king g5 and get the direct opposition, right? And if he plays king g8, we play king g4. And it's his move with an odd number of squares in between the kings, which means he does not have the opposition. So this will again lead to the direct opposition. So as you guys can see, it's not very complicated. The distant opposition, if you just know the concepts that you have to follow, it is very simple. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video, and I'll be coming out with some more videos here pretty soon. And like it if you haven't, and please subscribe to my channel. And thank you very much for watching.